Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Not Just Revenue. I can't believe we're always at 40 episodes. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this at the beginning of every episode now. I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But genuinely, I'm like, oh wow, that happens quick, but also like really slowly at the same time. If anyone knows what I mean. This week, let's have a little catch up. I feel like we're friends here. We're friends, right? So a little catch up. I have just been away for the weekend visiting family, which is just really nice, really chill. Trains were a nightmare, and it did confirm to us yet again, we really need to get our ass in gear and learn to drive. I really love driving. I have had quite a few driving lessons. I feel pretty confident. I need practice? Yes, of course. But it's more a case of expensive. It is expensive, but we've been together almost 7 years. We don't drive. I've never had a car. I didn't grow up with a car. So I'm very used to using public transport and getting around, and also not paying for a car. I'm not used to the expense. And so we've not been prioritizing it because in our head, it isn't a priority. The priority is everything that we currently pay for and do. And once we make it a priority, other things are going to have to shift within our lifestyle to make up the fact that we need to pay for a car now. That's ultimately why we haven't done it. But every time we have to get a train somewhere and it's awful. We were trying to get on this train yesterday. It was really busy. We had to basically run to the end of the train, try and get on. It didn't look like there was any room to get on. And I looked at the guard. We looked at each other. And he was in his little door. He was like, there's no room down here either. Which, sassy. And I realised that was a lie, but we'll get on to that. So he was like, there's no room down here either. And I just looked at him like, what am I meant to do then? And he was like, there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. I thought I was a paying customer. I'm pretty sure I paid over £100 to be getting on this train, which is insane. I'm paying over £100 to go and stand in a sweatbox because you are oversubscribed, right? And they even said over the tannoy, he was like, oh, if you went to book your ticket and it didn't let you have a reserved seat, that's because there was no more reserved seating. Basically saying well, you kind of knew what you signed up for. And I'm like, no, that has never been explained to me. That is not anywhere. That is never. They should just say when you go and buy a ticket, this train is already fully booked. And I understand it's like planes, right? They oversell a few tickets because they expect a few people to not turn up. I understand that, but you know what flights do? They offer you money. They offer you money to take a later flight. I would happily, on the British Railway Network, I would happily pay money to just wait for the next train. Happily. But if I paid over £100 to get on a train, bet your ass I'm getting on that train. And I will fight and claw my way there. Anyway, we get on this train. The whole journey there's cancellations, there's delays, there's the whole shebang. On the way back, it's super busy. Because, of course, we get on eventually, push our way on. And for the first 2 stops, we're stood literally sweaty sardines. My son is on the floor, bless him, sat in between our feet, looking at books because I can't read to it. I can't do anything. There's no room. And I'm thinking to myself, we're stood next to the first class carriage. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no one stood up in there. There's no one, it doesn't look crowded in there. And yet we're out here looking and feeling like sweaty sardines. So I'm like, right, next time people get off and people are moving, we're going to go in. And I was remembering there have been times on the trains where it's been really busy. And the guards have basically been like, look, it's really busy. So we're basically turning off first class. So just go sit down, go find a space. Just don't be sweaty sardines. And so I know that that's a choice that they have. That is a choice that they have. That is a choice that and this man was coming on the tannoy about how it's not a problem. It's not, it's fine. You are making an active choice right now. You are choosing for us to be in here. And I made a point. I was like, I bet we go in there and he's going to check our tickets, right? Because he's right at the end of the train, which is just on the other side of this first class section. And I'm like, I bet he's going to check our ticket. And I'm going to ask him, oh, are you going to go through the train and check everyone else's tickets? No, you're not, because it's too fucking busy and you don't care. You just don't care about anyone else. Anyway, he comes on the tannoy and is like, oh, we've got spaces in first class. Did you know you can upgrade? And I was like, fucking nerve and the fucking cheek of it. But also my husband looked like he was about to like burst a blood vessel. He was so sweaty and also angry at the situation. And just with a toddler, I chose life. And I was like, we're going into first class. We got in there. He did this announcement, like, if you want to upgrade. And I was like, I literally like looked at my husband and I was like, sit down. We are paying. So we sit down, he comes through and he's all like, ticket please. He comes through and I'm like, hi, can we upgrade? So he was like, oh, it's 15 quid for all of you. And he was like, and you get refreshments. And I was like, well, sign me up, bad boy. Sign me up. So I paid the 15 quid and then bet your ass when they came with the refreshments, like, do you want anything? And I'm like, yeah, go. I need to get 15 quid's worth of refreshments right now. So I'm like, I'll have a Diet Coke, I'll have a bottle of water, my husband will have a coffee, we'll all have some biscuits, we'll all have some crisps, like we'll take it all, right? Next time they came down again, I'm going to take it all again. So my husband, inside, he was seething at this idea of like, with the trains in this country, you only become a customer that matters when you pay. But we've already paid, like trains are already expensive. And the fact that, and by the way, he did not, so this train ticket guy, the guard, he did not go down the rest of the train. He did not leave that first class carriage. So I know for a fact he only checked the tickets in there, which means he doesn't actually care. And then I saw them, it was the train guard and the like food people. It was just those three stood at the end, stood in that little gangway at the end. Not sweaty sardine style. So I'm like, oh, when you told me, when I got on the train and I was on the door at the other side of the carriage saying, there's no room. And he went, oh, but there's no room up here either. There fucking was. He looked at a family with a young child and a massive suitcase trying to get onto a packed train that had paid 3 figures, over £100 to be there. So your lesson is treat everyone as a customer, no matter what they pay, whether they buy a £27 digital product, whether they pay, 5k to come into your high ticket one-to-one, treat everyone the same. It's also part of the thing I teach is like treat all your leads like the people that are warmer, give them that VIP. So if they're warm, if they're in your little first class carriage, just the analogy, treat everyone who buys like a customer, like give them a good experience, care about them. That's one lesson. Lesson number 2 is the people that really care. So your leads, people that are like, I'm really interested, but for whatever reason, like it's not the right time, they can't afford it right now, whatever the reason is that they've not actually paid yet, they're in your first class carriage and you're gonna woo the fuck out of them, right? That's where you're gonna go, can I get any refreshments while you wait? Anyway, that was my rant about the train situation in this country. Rant number 2 isn't a rant. Rant number 2 is a celebration of the clients that started working together in June. So June, July, August. So this is the 3rd proper month of them working with me. And I have been looking at the numbers. I have been looking at the data. And if the title of this episode gives you anything to go off of, you can perhaps guess where I'm about to go with this. So I want to talk a little bit about, in particular, 3 clients, but I have more clients. Everyone comes to me at this is why I love doing one-to-one coaching. Everyone is at different stages. Okay. I've got clients who experienced burnout and are now rebuilding their business kind of like from the ground up. I've got some clients that know me obviously as the money girl and they just want to work on the finances side of things. That's fine. I have a specific offer for that, by the way, but it's in my back pocket. So if that's you, if you're like, oh, I need to sort my money shit out, but then Emily went and pivoted to be revenue, I'm like, don't worry, girl, I got you. Just reach out. So I have clients in all kind of different walks. And that's why I love is that I have 3 clients who have achieved quite similar results in a 3-month time span. And they kind of all came in at different points with different, situations going on, different businesses. And so I want to tell you a bit about them, more so that you can hear how different business owners, different types of businesses, different stages of business, how they have been able to grow their business within a short time frame so that you can see that it is possible for you. Okay. I want you to treat this as your proof it's possible. Okay. So I'm going to anonymize. I'm just going to go with their initials, but I will give you details of their business when I do a bit of a case study. So let's talk about client C. Okay. Client C actually came to me in six-figure safety. This is before I had like a revenue generating offer and I was just kind of like, manage your money. It's like, pay yourself more. She came to me in March when I closed the doors to six-figure safety, and we had a sales call and we hopped on it. And the main focus was going to be, look, I need to get my revenue back up. But a big part of getting her revenue back up was building trust within her ability to sell and also to make money, right? So I was like, right, absolutely. Now, the first phase of six-figure safety was always revenue design, okay? I just didn't sell it very well. So when we had the sales call, I was like, right, don't worry. The first stage of this is sales, like revenue design and sales and making sure your business can actually make the money that you need anyway. So we're going to work on it. She worked with me, and when I decided to launch Momentum at the end of May, I knew that this client would be a perfect fit for it. And so I moved her over. I just went, look, got this new offer. I think for where you're at, no extra cost to you. Let's just do this offer instead and see how it goes. Well, it couldn't have gone better because so March, April, May, so in the 3 months she was inside six-figure safety, not an awful lot happened. And that's because six-figure safety was quite hands-off. There was, to an extent, unlimited one-to-one support. Like she could have used one-to-one support at any time. But I know that when it's on you, or the responsibility is on you to like use that support, we often feel like our problems, like it's not bad enough. We should be able to figure it out ourselves. And so I completely understand why maybe she hadn't used the support was there. Ultimately, part of the reason, like I knew people weren't using the support and why I decided to actually sunset that offer. So I started working with her one-to-one. So this was like end of May, we're having the conversation, like, do you want to do this? I've only got like, trying to like fill these kind of beta spots. So do you want to do it? No extra cost. She went away, thought about it and was like, ultimately came back and was like, yes, it sounds perfect. Let's do this. So here's some data. In the months prior to, so the first 5 months of the year, this is basically what this data is on. So the first 5 months of the year, I've not told you about her business. Emily, give the context first. Okay. So this client came to me as a launching, marketing, sales expert, right? That's her whole thing. She knows what she's doing. She has the smarts, right? Knowing and doing are two different things. And we all know that. But in business, it can come up from a whole host of situations. But in this client's experience, what had happened is, she'd been this coach, mentor, strategist that could get mega results, six-figure launches, and then had a launch that flopped. Had a few, maybe like a few that maybe didn't do as well as she thought, and then basically one big launch that just, in all definitions of the word, flopped. And obviously, when that happens, is you lose your trust. You lose self-trust. She lost trust in her business, in herself, in her products, in her offers, in her services. And so to cope with that, just kind of withdrew, right? To stop. If you don't know what sells, you stop selling. You're like, well, it doesn't feel safe to sell. It didn't feel safe to sell because obviously where you are perceived as well as the expert, and that's what you spent kind of like building your reputation as the expert, having it feel like, oh, I'm not the expert because I can't get those results anymore. Obviously, that's going to knock your self-trust. That's going to knock your reputation, your kind of like reputation within yourself and this, that, and the other. Now, she knew, I knew, she still has all the knowledge. She still knows what to do. Just like there had been a few things that had gone wrong, or ultimately like just having a flop launch is part of just like running a business. Like you're not always going to be able to hit the mark, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why in everything I do is I help you manage your money so that you can cover those flops. You can cover the months that are short, because that's just life. That's just business. Okay, it'd be silly to assume that you're always going to be going up and up and up and up and up. But it's also very, very silly to assume you're always going to be earning the same amount of money every single month. So what did we do? When we started chatting, when she started working with me in this one-to-one capacity, we thought about, and she'd kind of already been thinking about this, but I think obviously sometimes it feels like you just want someone else's validation. So we talked, and obviously one of the questions I asked her was, what was it, with what you were doing in this business, what was your favorite part of it? What was the bit that really like lit you up? Because she wasn't willing to show up because she was, afraid of what people would think, what people would say, what people would, ultimately how she's being perceived. And so I was like, right, ignoring all of that, what is the bit that you really just love delivering? What's your favorite thing about it? And she was like, it's really funny that you asked me that, because I have been working on something. Just was it a form of procrastination? Absolutely. But, I'm here for it. And she came to me with this entire pitch deck for a Meta ads agency, right? Pitch deck, business model, business plan mapped out. She already knew how she was going to get clients. She was like, I've already booked to go to some networking event. I'm like, great, let's go all in, because you seem excited about this, right? You're not burning down the past version of your business. You're not burning that down. Different audience. Let's put that spark back into what you do, because you seem really excited to do this. Lo and behold, she started doing this. She just started obviously like building the business, pitching, going to networking events, making those connections, having the sales calls. But what she also did was she went back to her original kind of like sales, marketing, launch business, and started sharing what she was doing, sharing why she was making certain decisions within this new business, kind of almost show is the building in public, right? Because her audience could see her expertise in how she was making these decisions and this thought leadership. All of a sudden, she had inquiries again. Okay, so she had gone from literally like pitching people, hearing nothing, hearing crickets, launching, not making the sales that she wanted, to just simply talking online about something she was excited about and making sales. And it has been pretty consistent since this has started happening. Meta ads is something that a lot of businesses need and want, especially local businesses. So for her to be able to work in her local area and network, she can get clients. So she's starting to get clients there. She's also getting Meta ad clients, coaching clients, and her mastermind clients through her original business that she had, through that thought leadership, through sharing the decisions she was making within her business and other people being like, shit, I need this. She's getting on sales calls with them. She's getting into the DMs with them. And she's basically going, UK, this is how we can, let's have a conversation. And then she's going, right, I think it'd be better if we had this or that. Or if someone's coming to her and going, I want Meta ads. And she's like, great. How are your funnels? Like the validation of like your lead magnet through to your offer, what's your conversion rate, all of that. And if they're not up to scratch, well, then she's getting them into one-to-one coaching, helping them build the whole thing, and then turning on the Meta ads. So she's able to get like a coaching fee and then add on the Meta ads retainers after they've built out the funnels together. So let's talk numbers. This client came to me in a kind of sales drought. She wasn't posting, she wasn't selling out of that fear of rejection. And her income for the first 5 months of the year on average was £2,350 a month. That was based on like kind of payment plans that she had of clients that were in her mastermind already. So no new sales in those 5 months. Since June, we sold the property in June. Average monthly income has over doubled to £5,109 a month. Okay. That is an average of the last 3 months. And she's about to take 3 weeks off. She's fully booked because she's taking 3 weeks off. She's getting married, obviously going on a honeymoon. And she knows when she comes back, she's got these clients, she's got retainer clients, she's got coaching clients. She knows what her capacity is because we mapped that out together. Her pricing makes sure that she can hit her income goals. She's well on her way for that. And it makes that is going to continue because we can see the demand. We can see obviously now the monthly recurring revenue that's coming in from stacking those clients, from stacking, the coaching and the management clients. So we have no doubt that kind of, 5K up, increasing months as she gets more and more clients is the way it's going to go. Okay, that's client C. Let's go on to client H. Client H came to me with a business that was kind of working, honestly. It had been inconsistent. It's a wedding business. So obviously with that, you have the seasonality. And that was the biggest thing this client wanted to work on. This client came to me because she wanted to know that, in the quiet months, she could still pay herself. Now, this client had done the maths of what she needed. She had used my previous take-home pay calculator. She had used that and she knew how much she needed to pay herself from her business. Was she doing that? Again, knowing and doing very different things. When I asked her, when we first started working together on our onboarding call, I asked her, how much are you paying yourself? She was like, oh, I know this one because I knew the number. And then I went, great, fantastic. Wrote that down because I took her at face value. And then I asked for her bank statements because what I like to do is I have a cash flow tracker. It can feel very overwhelming, especially when you start working with someone in the middle and the latter part of the year. It can feel very overwhelming to have to backdate all that data. So I'm like, look, you send me your bank statements. I will fill in a month's worth of data or 1 to 3 months worth of data. And then you can kind of see how it's working, why I'm putting things in certain places, et cetera, et cetera. When I took her bank statements, I could then see that actually she wasn't paying herself that amount of money. She knew she had to pay herself that amount of money. But in reality, it was kind of a bit here, a bit there, like transferring through the month as and when she needed it in her personal life and as and when there was money in her business account. So it felt like there was never anything there because you're kind of taking things. But then she was also trying to squirrel it away into lots of different kind of Monzo pots and manage it that way. But then because of the constant moving, not really understanding, and this is something I see over and over again with people that use kind of Monzo pots, spaces, multiple accounts. When you're moving lots of money around and you have different accounts for lots of different things, it can get blurry. And it's not even necessarily that it can get blurry in terms of, what money is for what, because you've got names on the accounts, right? It's more that you don't fully trust your financial position because you don't know what you can and can't afford because you're like, well, this money's earmarked for that and this money's earmarked for that. And so when this comes in, okay, do I need to move anything from that? And maybe where there's, you've been short, you've taken money out of that account and moved it. It becomes a whole thing. Anyway, so that's one of our first fucking things we did was consolidate some of these Monzo pots and spaces. But ultimately, like I said, this client had a business that was working. Income was a bit up and down from like 1K, 2K, 3K, 1K, 5K. And it was very up and down based on when bookings were to come in. And obviously going into wedding season, yes, of course, things have picked up over the summer. That's natural anyway, because she had all these bookings in place and they paid the second half of their deposit, I think a week before their wedding. So we were always going to have money coming in these months. The biggest thing for her was being able to see how do I carry that through into the lower income months. But not only that, how can I make sure, and I remember when we did the maths with this client and she knew, okay, well, I know I need 2,150 for my take home pay and my business expenses are around this. She was like, if I could bring in 4.5K a month, I'd be happy. Genuinely, she was like, that would be fantastic. If I could bring that in consistently, that'd be more than enough. I feel really good with that number. Anyway, so since working with me, she hasn't had a sub 5K month. Yes, girl. So her average income for the first half of this year was £3,409 a month. Her average income in the last 3 months of working with me has been £6,476. So again, she's almost doubled. It's a 90% increase. So we've almost doubled how much money, how much revenue she has coming into the business. We've also increased how much she's paying herself so that she can be adding to savings. She's saving to renovate her bathroom in a house they moved into relatively recently. And she knows that if she doesn't make another sale, even though she is, because it's only August and she's doing mega, we've increased her prices. We've looked at lots of different ways of bringing in more leads and making more money per client. And the revenue generating strategy is strategying, right? The clients keep coming. The money keeps coming. Even if she did not make another sale for the whole rest of this year, she would be able to pay herself her full £2,500 on the dot every single month until January, until 2027, until the end of the year, and then some. Okay? That is what's possible. It's not just about, oh, she's doubled her revenue. I mean, yes, of course, that is fucking insane. That is incredible. And I'm so, so proud of these clients that have done this, right? But the most important bit is the safety and security that comes from knowing I need to pay myself this amount of money and I know how to manage that because I also still teach all my money management systems with these clients. They still know how to manage that take-home pay to achieve their financial goals, to enjoy their life, to have their joyful spending. And they know that they can do that with 5 to 6 months worth of runway. So that's how long they have before they need to make another sale. That confidence, it gives you the breathing space to be able to be creative. But there's this phrase in business, and you'll hear it a lot, which is everything is an experiment, right? Everything is trial and error. And I say this, right, because it is true. But I also know when you are in a low income season and people are talking to you about how everything's an experiment and, trial and error, you'd be like, well, I can't fucking afford to error. I can't afford to experiment. I can't afford for this to go wrong. And so I've been there and I know how annoying it is. These clients now have the ability to experiment with confidence because they know they have the runway. They know they now have the income that they need and they have it protected within their personal life, within their business, to be able to continue, to be able to experiment, to be able to test new things, to have fun with their business, to be creative again. It's not just about optimization so that they can make money. They know they're going to make money. They can trust their ability to make money. Okay. Let's go on to another client. This is client E. Client E came to me, again, a business that was working. I won't lie, she had money coming in, she had clients coming in. It was a bit sporadic. It was sporadic. And this client, she knew if I post on social media, if I advertise my services, I make sales. But I just don't. And I was like, okay, let's get to why you don't. And so we went through this client's offers, and ultimately it was actually a lot of what she's selling. So she's a web designer, fallen into the pattern of yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. But there were projects that she hated delivering. Obviously, that would then become a time suck because when you hate delivering something, you're just slower doing it because you're like, oh, she can't be bothered. So it takes you longer to get into it and to find the motivation and all of those things. She figured out what she actually loves to deliver, what she doesn't. We also then looked at pricing because her pricing strategy had been, I've noticed I've been telling a few people to raise their prices. I should probably raise mine, and kind of chucking an extra 100 or 200 on it. We did proper pricing strategy, put new prices on it. She now is excited to sell. She's excited to sell and she does regularly sell. So market her offers because she knows now, okay, well, I really like delivering this type of design work. So I'm just going to sell that type of design work. And that feels exciting. And so you actually do it. And when you actually do it, you make sales. And when you make sales, you make money. Shocking, isn't it, really? So this client, yes, we did offer design, obviously revenue design of how the money was coming in, set her a monthly take-home pay, all of that. The biggest thing actually for this client, and actually for the last client, client H, is actually we're now going into time management because their revenue generating activities is kind of there. It's kind of doing its thing, right? We kind of, within the 3 months, we've kind of gone, okay, you found the thing that works. Let's just keep doing that. Actually, now it's how do we get you more time back? How do we make more money per hour? How do we put time back in your hands? And so that's what we're now focusing on this client is, yes, okay, let's continue to get the bookings in, focusing on bookings in advance. Obviously, client C, client H, we've now got that kind of booking months in advance. We're starting to see that with client E, and that ultimately is where I want to get to so that that money is coming in. But for the number girlies, for the people that are I want the receipt. Let's go with client E's numbers. Okay, so in the first half of the year before she was working with me, her average monthly income was £5,441 a month. Actually, I think that's dollars, so Australian dollars. $5,441. It is now, in the last 3 months, her average income has almost doubled, $10,594 a month. Okay, there's a 95% increase. So that is what's possible with revenue design. That is what's possible when we look at a combination of the design of your business, your identity, your mindset around sales, your sales processes. How are you actually making sales? How are you inviting clients in? How are you nurturing clients? How are you retaining clients? Cash flow. How are you managing that money? How are you making sure that you're paying yourself? How are you making sure that you're saving, putting aside for a rainy day within your business? And that's the optimization. How do we find out what is working and how do we do more of that without losing the creative spark? And that is disco. Okay, that's the analogy. D, design, I, identity, S for sales, C for cash flow, and O for optimization. That is the process that I am working with my clients through. Okay. I love it so much. It is working. Even the clients that are in a different situation where maybe they are really rebuilding a business from scratch and rebuilding their trust within themselves from scratch, or have had a bit of a slower start. I still have client A who has increased her income by 35% in the last 3 months. And I have other clients that are doing lots of other lovely things, such as going from not selling anything out of burnout and fear and feeling lost with it all and just selling packages, really, really cheap packages of calls because that felt safe because people would say yes. To now, with this particular client I'm thinking about, she's now created and designed a full, proper, packaged offer, productized offer. And she is now selling that. She is now posting again. She's emailing again, which is mega. Absolutely mega. And we know that the money will come, but obviously to go from, not posting for a year and living off referrals to going to, I now have an offer. It's a high ticket offer. This is how I work with people, and starting to market that again. Of course, there's a bit of time. We need to build that momentum, but she's taking action, which is something she wasn't doing 3 months ago. Okay. And so we're now going to start seeing the fruits of that labor pay off. So even if people, clients haven't doubled their revenue in 3 months, okay, even if they've not done that, they're still making moves that they wouldn't have done otherwise. And we're still starting to see that momentum, okay? Everyone is at different places in their business. Everyone is in a different place kind of personally and mindset and identity-wise. And that is why I love doing the one-to-one work, because I don't care. I don't hold these 3 clients that have doubled their revenue, hold them any higher. And I'm like, wow, look at that. And I know for you listening that hearing stories of clients who have doubled their revenue, I know it fucking sells. So yes, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, I'm going to celebrate the fuck out of them. But I'm also celebrating the fuck out of my other clients who are also doing incredible things. Like just making sales invitations when they were making no sales invitations before. Having the confidence to show up online and post reels. Fucking hell, I don't post reels. I hate posting reels. But to do that and to actually fall in love with their business again and to start making money again is incredible to see. And I hold such love in my heart for those clients that have trusted me when they are in this season of completely, lacking that trust in themselves, lacking that trust in their business. The fact they have entrusted me on this journey with them is absolutely incredible. So if you are listening, thank you. I love you. And obviously all of this, we couldn't have this episode without an invitation to work with me. Of course. So this is how it's going to work. You're going to go to the Momentum Sales page, right? The link is in the description. Okay, you're going to scroll, a little nosy of what's involved, but my copyright's going to hate me for this. But essentially, if it touches money, we'll talk about it. If it touches money in business, we can talk about it. But essentially, I want to help you to not necessarily double your revenue. I mean, right now, I'm like, I could totally claim that. I could totally do that as a promise, but what I do want to say is I want you to have consistent 5K months and 5K plus months. And the reason why I want you to have a consistent 5K plus months is because when you have that consistent income coming in, when you know you can reliably pay yourself, when you know that you can reliably build savings within your business, and when you know that you can invest in things to build your growth, that is when you can really start to compound your business. Okay. That is when you can really start to grow. And it's also when you start to have that safety and security within your finances, within yourself, within your identity, within your trust, within your business. Okay. So it's so important to me that you are able to grow your business to this point. And if you are struggling to grow your business to this point, it's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. You just haven't had the right support. And I know that you have invested in fucking everything. I know that you've tried the groups. I know that you've done the programs. I know that you've invested in the workshops and the templates. And I know, okay? But the reason it hasn't worked is because A, nothing has been intentionally designed based on what you need and not just picking a number out of the sky and being like, well, I want to make 6 figures, so let's design a business and make 6 figures. That's not what I mean, okay? It has to be tied to you, your unique needs and wants in life, okay? Also, using all these different experts, right? You've got a content expert over there. You've got an accountant over there. You've got this, you've got 5 to 10 to 15 different voices telling you what works, what doesn't work, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. That is confusing as fuck. And because of that, you're not giving anything enough time to work. You're not giving anything enough time to understand what you need to do with it, like to the data. Really, you don't have enough data. And so I implore you to work with myself, someone like myself, but mostly me. Someone who can help you see the business from that kind of higher level. Someone from the outside that can see what needs to be done. And also, if you are someone, and I know this is everyone, okay? We are all out here trying to make more money, okay? I don't care how you talk about it, how you sugarcoat it. At the end of the day, you are here to make money. And if you're listening to this, it's because you want to make more money, you want to manage your money better, you want to make more money, you want to do more with it. Okay? Business coaches out there, marketing coaches are not going to help you with your money the way that I can, the way that I will, the way that my clients are moving with their money. Other people are not. And that is because they do not have the financial expertise. Okay? They do not have the qualifications. They do not have the knowledge of what being in the numbers for hundreds of different types of businesses lives in my head. They don't have that, okay? I do. And this year is definitely my year of being unhumble, okay? Fuck being humble. That's definitely where I'm at, right? I want to work with you. I want you to apply for Momentum. My availability is limited. I only take 12 clients at a time. Okay. I'm trying to think how many I have right now. I want to say 10? No, 9. So I have 3 spaces. I have 1 inquiry for August, and then I wanted to sign 2 in September. So if you want to start in September, get in touch. My availability may change after that because I have clients obviously coming up for their renewals. At the moment, most clients are choosing to stay on. So that should be a sign that what they're getting is pretty fucking good. But if you want to work with me, please inquire, okay? If you inquire and I don't have space, I will hold your spot, okay? If you inquire and I do have space, well, you can sign on today, baby. I've also got clients, I've got some people that are like, okay, I want to work with you, but I can't start until October for, whatever their personal reason is, okay? We're then extending their payment plan so they can pay for longer. Okay, so it actually aids because they get to book their spot and they get to have a lower monthly commitment to do that. So whatever your little objection in your head might be, just know that it's a protection mechanism. Know that I'm here to help. Like, if we hop on a call and I don't think you're in the right place or I don't think I'm what you need, I will say that. Like, I don't care. Like, I have the clients, I have the revenue, I have the leads. If I don't think I can help you, I'll tell you. Okay, it doesn't help me to just say yes to everyone, because then if I don't think I can help you and then I work with you and you give me your money and then I can't help you, it's not going to look good for me. And I actually said on Threads recently that my biggest fear is that I am someone's like bad investment. That's like one of my biggest fears. Okay, so just know I will not do that to you. As it would kill me. Anyway, that's all I have to say. If you're listening to this and you're like, do it, but I don't know, and there's like, oh, that kind of feeling, just inquire. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't lock you in. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to come hunting you down. Like, just inquire. We can have a chat, reach out in the DMs. It's fine. And if you're like, Emily, I don't need revenue, but I do need to manage my money better, also just reach out. I have another offer, revenue to wealth. At the moment, I'm just selling it on the back end, but essentially, if the idea is you've already got the money coming in, you just want to turn that money into personal wealth and know that your retirement savings, your money management within your business, your safety and security are all like locked in. That's what that is for. So I am also taking clients for that offer as well. But over both of those offers, I only have 12 spaces. So bitch, get applying. Anyway, it's been fun. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.